everybody. This is Elena Mosaner, and this is Mind Over Matter podcast. And today I will be talking to Anya Vlads, who is a finance specialist. She holds MBA, also a master's in science and finance, and she's a model, an actress, and beauty and health advocate. She's also a friend who I have known for more than 10 years. So welcome, Anya.
Thank you, Elena. Great seeing you. We haven't seen each other in I don't know how many years, right?
2 years.
Yeah,
we saw each other 2 years ago in November in 2019 in New York City. You and I had lunch together on the Upper West Side.
There you go. Look at you. That's right. That's where I am right now. Actually, that's exactly where I am right now, Upper West Side.
There you go. So you stayed in New York. I thought you were moving to Florida or something like that, you know?
No. I'm in New York actually now. I've been here for about a month and a half now. But yes, I did go to Florida to escape New York's, I'd say, darkness maybe during COVID and cold winter. And I think it was a challenging time for a lot of people. And if you are one of those people who needs vitamin D and sunshine, and your health and kind of psychological well-being, is affected by that, I am surely one of those people. I left New York for quite some time.
So, and well, let's just let our audience know that we met about 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago right now. And we were together in the same social scene, right? Social circles. We have many common friends together. That's been quite nice. And we had so much fun time and going out at restaurants and events. It was a really, I remember a cool social life at the time. And I left New York 4 years ago, five, something like that. 3 years ago, left New York. I'm now in California. Haven't been in New York since the pandemic began because I used to go there at least a few times a year, but I have to wait a little bit. So tell me, New York, you're back there, and you decided to come back, right? So how is it now? I hear that it's much better. People were so scared. There were articles online saying that New York is dead and all that. Is it coming back to life?
Well, actually, it is coming back to life, but I think it's coming back to life mainly because of the weather change. Right now, it's sunny outside, blue sky, and it's like 30 Celsius or so. What is it in Fahrenheit? It's very warm, right? And the places are opening up. So after June 15th, I think with all the talks of economy reopening, it kind of made people feel more optimistic about the future. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it did, and with a lot of museums reopenings, I get all the email notifications, about different museums, different exhibits that are on, which is, it's exciting. It's different after 16 months of COVID, and it gives hope, I think. And to be honest, I came here because I needed to. I had some appointments, some interviews that I needed to attend. But honestly, if not for that, I don't know if I would have come back here, because my work is remote right now, still is, and hopefully, it'll stay like that. Most likely not, but I hope that there will be some kind of hybrid structure in the financial corporate world, because honestly, if not for the meetings that I had to be here for and for the appointments, I probably wouldn't have been here, and I would have stayed somewhere else, somewhere more peaceful, somewhere more harmonious with my soul.
Yeah. So last time I saw you, you remember I had a baby. She was then 1. Now she's going to be 3 in September, and I have another girl.
Amazing.
Yeah. So a lot has changed. I know a lot has changed for me. I became a mom, and obviously it's such an incredible experience. Do you think you'll have kids in the future?
It's definitely something that, it's not ruled out. Yes, I would like to have kids in the future. Whether it will be in New York, and if New York is the right environment, once again,
Yeah.
it's another story. So it's a challenging place to raise a family, I think. Not
Yeah.
only for obvious reasons, I think, such as financial, right, matters. So if you are well off financially and you can afford a good school, good education for your child, I think it's one of the major like contributing factors. That's number one. Then obviously the safety
Hmm.
of the city, and I have noticed that it's not as safe anymore as it used to be, especially. So I used to live close to Times Square, not the best area at all.
Yeah.
So with that said, right now I'd say it is even worse.
Mm.
The crime rate is up on the corner of my building where I used to live. They murdered a man, they just shot him. Then there are a lot of small hotels that are being converted to homeless shelters.
Wow.
And with that, there are pluses and minuses. And of course, it's noticeable how, the minuses are more noticeable. It's always the negatives that you see that are visible,
Yeah. Yeah.
the place is dirtier, it's unsafe, and there are a lot of drugs being distributed. And I don't know if the cops
No, it's not a
do
safe place.
anything.
Doesn't sound like one. I mean, even back then, I moved out from New York because I didn't want to raise family there. But
Mhm.
if you were to raise family, where would it be? Where would you see it?
It would be
Raise kids, raise family, raise
possibly,
family,
yeah, possibly one of the warmer states.
like Florida.
Maybe, maybe, maybe Florida. But honestly, I don't know if it's versatile enough. Florida is also not great, but in terms of culturally and in terms of the variety, um, I feel like something is lacking. Maybe California. I haven't been in California during
Enough.
the
Yeah.
pandemic and how it is now. I've heard it's pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But then a friend of mine just went to LA last week, and she said it's fantastic. She really likes it there now, and she's from New York herself, so
Yes.
that's kind of optimistic. And then there are always other countries out there. I lived in Australia for 11 years, so
Hmm.
maybe down the road
Maybe
going
back to
back to
Australia.
maybe going back to Australia. I always have amazing associations with Australia. It's another story what's happening there right now with
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, they did do an amazing job with keeping the numbers very, very low. But right now they just went into another lockdown because in Sydney they found like a cluster of about 13 people with COVID, which is like 13. What is it in comparison to our numbers, right?
Yeah.
But Australia is always there, and also motherland, Mother Russia, Moscow.
Would you really go back and live in motherland with your man and your kids? Would you really do that?
I think I would because 2-3 years ago when I went there, I think yeah, that's about right. I For the first time in my life, I thought that Moscow is a place where I can see myself moving back to, and actually think that I could have a good life there. I
Hmm.
never thought that before. Before, my thought was always like, I love Moscow. I am patriotic about my country, and
Hmm.
I haven't seen my whole country. It's huge. I mean, Russia is massive, but
Moscow is amazing. Moscow is like New York. It's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and it's actually more advanced than New York in many
Yeah.
areas.
And what areas?
Well, for example, even logistically, in terms of like subway, right? Public
Subway is definitely
transportation.
cleaner, faster. Yeah, it's
Yes.
good.
Then traffic jams, not. Traffic jams are horrible if
Yeah.
you're, driving and you kind of need to. My mom, when I see my mom, and when, for example, she picks me up from the airport, right? She would ask me, make sure your flight is either really, really early or really late, just
Yeah,
because you can stuck in the traffic jam for like 4 to 5 hours.
that's what I
Um,
hear. Yeah, yeah. Well, thankfully
right.
there are subways, but yeah, no, traffic is horrible there. But Moscow
But
is a
like
good place to be. Yeah.
yeah, other things also, for example, even apps, even the parks and what they are developing in the parks right now. I see so many new, more advanced things that the apps that they develop for the city and urban development.
Mm,
I thought Central Park is amazing. To be honest, I think right now Central Park is just, it's just there. It's just park. Because
yeah.
if you go to Moscow and to the park by Moscow River, what they've done there with the how they engage public and all the activities and events that they have, and for youth as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think they are really trying to um, promote, and they're doing a good job at promoting healthy living to young adults,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
as
Yeah,
opposed to
no,
Russia.
my cousin lives in Moscow. My cousin lives in Moscow. She has two kids, and she works there, and her husband works for television. She's just having a great time, and she's now changing her career. She's becoming a producer. She's making videos, shooting commercials. She's really establishing her business really quickly because there are a lot of business people, entrepreneurs. She studied really quickly. She went to a really good school. It's things happen really really fast in Moscow, and it's very very it's an interesting country right now. And the young people who are living in Russia, they are they're very similar to people in Europe, people in America. Young people don't have the borders anymore, like we used to have.
Right.
Then 20 years ago there were borders and we were all different. Now they're similar, and they're exchanging their memes, their beliefs and information, patterns. There's a lot of exchange going on, so it's helping Russia in many ways, because I do think a lot of Russia is now being reinvented by young people, like people our age, younger. They're reinventing Russia from a different viewpoint.
Right.
Really helping.
And I think in comparison to New York, if you to compare like apples to apples, with Moscow, there are a lot of opportunities where they are still untapped, and there is still potential for substantial growth. Whether in New York, the competition and the market is so oversaturated, there they can learn and observe what's happening in America, in New York, in other cities, and they can utilize it and implement it in Moscow if they have the resources and backing, financial backing, because right now the market is not as saturated there. So the growth
Market for
potential,
what?
oh, for anything. For example, even for healthy living, food, for example,
Mhm.
right? Vegan restaurants or vegan alternatives such as production of yogurts, oat milk,
Yeah.
almond milk, all that kind of stuff. The trend is just kind of
That's
picking up,
right. Here it's
you
already
know?
oversaturated because the
Right.
competition is so high, and there it's just coming. It's just starting.
They're just implementing it. And the
Yeah.
same thing with the coffee. Oh, what's a trendy coffee? Let's have this trendy coffee shop with all the milk varieties, which they finally have now. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Just like with that, there are other developments like with other apps. Develop some kind of app, like for example, video like your sister does, right? Video production. They imitate a lot of things, but they
Yeah.
also can make it better. It's like China, China
Yeah,
imitates
you're right.
and then makes it
Russia is very
better.
good at copying. You're right. The Russia is really good at copying, but you're right. They're making it better. They're actually innovating things, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, what, if the opportunity presents itself to be in Moscow and, to make a decent living in Moscow, which I think is possible,
You
then I
would.
would consider, I would. I
Mm.
don't know if they started Amazon delivery there. That's one thing I miss. I remember last time my friend told
Uh,
me there's no Amazon. I'm like,
well,
oh
I'm sure
man.
Amazon will start delivering in Russia too. There will be a time.
Mm,
Things are changing so fast.
right.
This is
They're
so
growing
cool. Do
rapidly.
you watch any actually I'm going to ask you that later. First, I want to say that one last thing about motherhood, that motherhood is a sacrifice. It's definitely a sacrifice. It's not easy. And it's something, as it's a commitment. As a woman, you have to really be ready for it. Do you think do you realize the sacrifice, and would you be ready for that kind of sacrifice and time off from life?
Yeah. You know, I look at my friends and I think about them and how they handle things when they have a child, and whether it's a newborn or whether it's, a baby that's 1 year old, 2 year old, and the commitment that a child requires. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but honestly, I don't think so. And I admire this woman. I admire you because you are also very passionate about film industry and you make your own movies. And it's such a commitment to do that when you have a project, for example, right? When you have a family, you have a husband, and you want to have that balance as well. It's like in that book, Lean In. Is it possible to have work-life balance? I honestly
Mm,
think it's not. Please
no.
tell me if you think it is, because then you can teach me how, and then maybe I'll
Mm.
be more willing to give birth sooner.
Well, women are doing it. They are doing it. It's not easy. It's not easy. And actually, the sooner you do it, and that's why I wanted to have my second child, because I wanted to have two kids. It's better to have two kids, actually. It's nice. In ways that it's such a rich experience. It's hard to explain when you don't have children. You're really beginning to reparent yourself when you have kids, because you want to be a better version. You see your own continuation, you see a little you, right? And you're like, this is what I'd like, this is what I would do for me, this is what I want for them. Then you ask yourself, well, why am I not doing it for myself? You start doing it for yourself. This is what I want them not do when they grow up, and this is what they need to believe in. And I'm like, well, then I need to start believing that right now. So you're really changing yourself for better. It's incredible. And then the second is coming in, you realize how your attention, you have to manage and juggle your attention. It's about being a conscious parent and patient parent. There's so many lessons, so much learning. And if one of your values is growth and becoming a better human being, having children is one of these incredible sources that can teach you, to be a better person. Now, to answer your question about work-life balance, it's possible, and there are many, many women that are doing it. Actually, I watched an interview with Juliana Margulis with an interesting lady whose name is Kasia or Baniak, I think, like that, something like that. I'll tell you more about her a little later. But Juliana Margulis is a really good actress. She's been in television shows like The Good Wife. She has, I think, one son or two sons, at least, even if it's one son. She has managed to be a mother and a wife, and a really talented actress, producer, and she was talking about that, how it's not easy, it's hard, it's a work-life balance, and she's in excellent shape. And there are things that you will not have time for. Like, there were things that I literally didn't have time. I'm managing to put exercise in. Even, yes, sure, I had an hour for yoga, I had an hour to exercise. Now I have to do it in 15 minutes, 20 minutes every day, and that's what I have. 15 minutes. If I can get a half hour right now, it's going to change in a year, but right now, if this is all I can do right now, I'll do that, and I'll establish a healthier habit. It's hard to eat healthy when you're a little stressed out, when you have so much going on. You just, eat here and there, and then you're like, I need to also work through it. So that's the part of your life that doesn't, you don't have a whole lot of attention for that part of life, let's say, because I want my attention to go into refining certain projects, doing my work, being a good mother. So some things will not have as much attention as you would want. However, one thing I noticed is that I have become so much more organized, and I realized there were times before I have kids that I would sit, do a project, and I would put more time than I needed, more time than I needed. And now I put less time, and I accomplish a similar result. And there are times when you work on something so much and so diligently, you let it out. Let's say it's a project, you let it out in the universe, and it's not justified. You could let out like Seth Godin talks about, launch. Don't perfect your project, launch and ship it, ship, launch. Because when you launch, then you get feedback, you communicate with your audience, and then you perfect it. And so that's something that I've learned, is just get it done, be happy with it, let out, improve, improve. So that's with projects, at least with summer projects. I was able to shoot. I started doing a TV, the online series. I just shot an episode last week. I would have done it earlier if I didn't have, family, but at the same time, I feel like I'm getting a lot done, maybe even more done productively. And I have time to read. Everything is scheduled, every single thing. I have 20 minutes of reading scheduled. I took 2 books that I'm going to read in the next 40 days. I'm going to read, it's 800 pages. So it's 20 pages a day. So I have 40 days to read the book. Okay, 2 books.
Do you have a time, like let's say in the morning, 20 minutes, or in the evening? Do you actually write down like 10 a.m. I'm going to read a book or something like that?
Right now it's scheduled for 9. So, and I put it a little bit, put time in, usually in the morning, it's better. So yes, it's in the morning. Right now it's scheduled in the morning. If I miss out, I'll pick up the book and I'll read just a little bit when I have time, when I go home today. I do have a client after this. So I had a client before this podcast and I have a client after this podcast too. So I am working, I'm keeping a life balance. But what I'm not doing, Anna, is this. My social life is not as exciting as it was when I lived in New York. And that's okay. I'm doing podcasts, and my need for social connection is satisfied. I'm not standing in a social event, interacting with a lot of people and having a glass of wine in my hand, having a little appetizer, or just talking to different people, random people coming in, like that kind of stuff. It's not there. It's more determined. I do
I think you have
need.
something more fulfilling right now.
Well, the need, you need to ask, what is the need? If my need for social life is really the need for connection, maybe surprise, sometimes it's a surprise. When I lived in New York back then, it was to meet someone, to connect with people, to build a network. Maybe there's an opportunity that will come from somewhere, maybe for business, and so on and so forth. All of these needs for business are satisfied in other ways. I reach out to people that I see specifically on LinkedIn or on the YouTube video, right? For business connections, I can go and hire certain people on Upwork. I can hire somebody again on LinkedIn. I can ask people from my network, right? My need for maybe surprise is missing. If somebody come approaching me and talking, I don't really need that anymore. My need for surprise is satisfied with my kids and my husband. I have a lot of interesting things happening right now in my world with my kids that is a surprise, a new word, a new sentence, and new something every day. It's something new. So that need is satisfied. And the other need for connection that is also incredible when you go out there in social life, you connect with people, you get to know them. That need for connection is also satisfied when I connect with clients. When I connect now, doing a podcast is really incredible because I really wanted to connect with other people, whether it's people I already know, new people. So that need is also satisfied. I think it's about really understanding what is it that I'm really looking for. Is there something that I need to push aside? Or if I really need to satisfy that need, how else do I satisfy that need together with the new outcome, like having kids, for instance, or having a family, or becoming a mom, right? So does that make sense?
I think you made a very good point about this is something that I picked up earlier when we spoke before filming this podcast. We were talking about filming something, and I asked you, so are you going to look at it later and you're going to edit? And you said something, you know what? No, I won't have time to do this, to review this whole thing again. No, it's going to be very natural. It's going to be pretty much almost impromptu. If there is something that I would like to edit, it will be very minimal because look, I recorded and I upload it. We work on it. We discuss interesting topics because later on it'll be something else. And that's a critical element, I think. And for me, this is something that I used to struggle with, and I still think that I still struggle with it. A lot of people, I think, do, is that you want to perfect something, but when you are perfecting something, it's not getting out there. You're not getting that feedback, and you are stale. You're not growing, and then you might want to give up altogether on that idea.
That's right. That's exactly right. You got it right. And every business person is advising you all the time, get out there, interact with your user. For instance, I have an app called AlphaMind and it's not perfect, right? We've created it with another developer in Unity, which is a software developing application. And I've been talking with other people, and they said, no, you need to develop in something else. You need to do native language, blah, blah, blah. But the app is decent, it's good, it's working, and it's out there. And as I've been talking with other people, and also, there's Y Combinator, which is an excellent accelerator. I didn't get in, but I studied with them. They have this startup school. And one thing I have learned from them is, no matter, just you have an idea, put it together. There are so many billion-dollar companies that get out their project, their app, their website. It was a simple spreadsheet, or it was a very simple WordPress site, but they got out there to start interacting with an audience, and then it started to pick up. And as they interact with the user, you talk to your users, okay? And then you perfect it. So that's something that I felt extremely uncomfortable with, Anna. And I can understand what you're talking about, this, perfecting. And I was perfecting my app, and my letting it out there. And then finally we released it. I started talking to users, and I'm comfortable with the fact that it's not perfect. I'm not ready to go like, hire a PR person or do public relations, because if Oprah uses my app, or Kim Kardashian, and and then they talk about it, and then everybody starts using it, and like the website crashes. I don't want that. Obviously I don't want that, but I want them to use my app. I want them to try my app. So I'm going to do my best to really improve it and perfect it. But like I said, I got it out there, no matter how uncomfortable I felt with it being imperfect, and especially criticism can be harsh. I mean, people are saying this, with the criticizing, all that, but you have to learn how to take criticism. So that's the power of.
It's that feedback loop as well. That's very important. Like, for example, for me, what was challenging, especially with the travel part, is I decided to, you've seen, launch my new Instagram account focusing on health and beauty, right?
I noticed that. Tell me more about it.
Right. I thought that, what, I have been, so I've studied fitness, personal training back in Australia. So I lived in Australia for like 10 years. And I thought that, do I want to become a personal trainer? Do I want to become a nutritionist? And I realized, like, from studying all of this information for so many years, Instagram became a portal where I wanted to start and create content to share with my audience, and share it with my current audience on my personal page. But I realized that, what, this content needs to be very regular, and it doesn't have to be a long post. Because, for example, I've been dealing with some health issues, with some skin issues. And then when I was researching and talking to so many specialists, I realized that there is no answer for this one thing, but I've had so many other female friends who asked me about it, who don't know what the solution is. For example, one of them is that perioral dermatitis skin issue. I've tried everything under the sun to treat it. It's that nasty rash you get when
I saw it on your Instagram. And did you find something that helps you?
Well, yes. You know what, the irony of it is that it can be triggered by a number of things. And in my case, it's triggered by cold weather. So when I went to Florida, it cleared. But the doctors here give you antibiotics, a lot of antibiotics for at least 1 month. Antibiotics wreak havoc on your system, especially during COVID. You don't want to take antibiotics because then your microbiome, your gut flora is destroyed. Your immunity is affected. So for me, I tried all the creams. I've done antibiotics because it's a repetitive issue I've had for now 5 years, right? And every time it would be prescribed to me by dermatologist, antibiotics prescribed. So I realized, okay, it's the climate. I'm like, do I move to a warmer state? That was like another reason, like, do I need to travel for it to go away? And then by accident, I discovered that's what was causing it. But I remember drafting a long post about what causes it, what medication that was prescribed by doctors. In fact, it was almost like a free consultation on Instagram, right? But that would take so much time, and especially if you have a full-time job, in order to create content, to have image or footage, and especially if you're recording a video, you need to edit it. I'm not an editor by trade, so it's almost like I needed to learn something completely different to upload just one post. And at that point I realized I can't do it like that. I can't have like a professional Instagram account. And also the audience wants that interaction, very frequent interaction, right?
Yeah.
And then you get all the beauticians or estheticians who follow you, or people with the same health concern who would like to get what.
It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job.
Right. They want to know what the cure is. And basically, if you keep it very simple, but 2-3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
then it's an Instagram account that will grow. You know, the number of followers will increase. Unfortunately, I realized it because I didn't do that, because I was also traveling. And that is right now kind of on a back burner, something that I'm working on. But with that said, I was able to film, you know, to record 4 videos that I've been thinking about uploading. And I think what I'm going to do is stop perfecting it, because I'm not going to edit it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have it perfect. I just need to have it there for the audience.
Well, but for Instagram, you don't have to have it perfect. The idea of Instagram is that things happen instantly, really quickly. Instagram, right? You post a quick video. You're somewhere by the ocean. You're filming something. You're by the airplane. You go into the airplane. You film a quick video, 30 seconds, 1 minute.
The videos that I have though are for YouTube, because I would
YouTube
like to
is different. Yeah.
I have like 25-minute video, right? So, and it's like 4 videos, and I wanted to take some clips and post it on Instagram, you know, like a story, bit by bit. So that takes time, because I would like to edit it, to break it down.
Yeah. No, YouTube is different, but you can get an intern, social media intern, no?
I think that's what I'm going to have to do right now, because I spoke with a number of people, and they're like, look, with the way your job is, there's no way you can do what you want to do by yourself. So it looks like that. It's
a lot of work. Even right now doing the podcast, I thought it was so much simple to upload on Spotify, but then I learned you had to have a different account with one of the, you know, like SoundCloud or RSS dashboard.
Maybe you can teach me about it later, because that's another thing I would like to do, a podcast. Yes.
It's simple. I'll talk to you. Yes. It's just you. I mean, usually you have someone else doing it, but because I've done those things before with editing and film. So I learned quickly. And okay, so you have to upload something on RSS. You have to have an RSS feed. You have to have an artwork for the, you know, the actual podcast, and the descriptions for each and every, the titles have to be really good, artwork for each episode. Then it automatically uploads to Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I need to do Apple Podcasts. I've only done the Spotify. So, and actually Spotify is different. People that are finding podcasts right now on Spotify are different people. Like there's some people from Europe that are finding it. You have to use certain keywords, you know, for your podcast and the guests that you have. So this is like for today we'll have different keywords, like New York City social life. We'll have a keyword for beauty, a keyword for
pandemic. That'll be a big one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Moscow, social life in Moscow life, you know, things like that. So yeah.
Is it something you can monetize on down the road, or it's mainly YouTube?
Down the road. Like I said, my goal is right now is to first connect with people, because I've already done 6 or 7 episodes and I've learned a lot of new things and connected. I'm having people listening to podcasts. I see which podcasts are more popular, which themes are interesting to people. That's interesting for me, just from the analytics point of view. And then I can, you know, reinforce certain topics more. Monetizing, yes, it's not my primary goal at the moment. You can approach sponsors later on, but this is not something that I'm not thinking a whole lot about. Maybe later on. So what I do want to do is, like, I'm shooting I shot the episode for The Magical Mind called Juliana, which I'm going to start editing this month as soon as I get all the footage. I'd like to get sponsors for that, you know, to start doing the series and maybe take it to the next level, like make it bigger production. But yeah, so that's something that I'd like to monetize in the sense. But podcast, we'll see what happens. Right now it's about connecting, getting to know your audience, and having a good time with people that you connect to. Like today, I haven't connected with you in like so long. We had a conversation like 5 months ago, and now we connected again, and it's
exactly
it's great. Our time is running out. What's that?
Wonderful to see you as well. Your
so
face,
good to see you
usually
too.
we just call.
I know, it's good to see your face. Listen, I want to ask you one last thing. There actually were a number of things but usually 1 hour is not enough. Time running out so fast. I don't even have time for all the questions. But
Right.
what do you think about masculine and feminine? Because this is one of the themes in my podcasts. I talk to people, personal growth experts. You are a woman. Do you think there is a masculine, feminine as an energy, as an archetype, something within yourself? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I think there is masculine, feminine, and I think there are pluses and minuses. And this is something that I personally can relate to because I find myself to be very strong, very much alpha. And I don't know if it's a good thing. And maybe a lot of women right now will frown, and with all the movements right now, and with all the DNI, diversity and inclusion, all power to the women, equal pay, which I agree is important, and all the liberties that were given to women. But I'm talking about more subtle dynamics, especially at home when you are with your man, with your partner, and it also depends, of course, on your partner. If the partner is more feminine and a woman is more alpha, that's totally fine. There are many couples like that. But I feel that my own kind of alpha personality gets on my own way, and it's something that prevents me from sometimes having a healthy relationship, with my partner.
Really?
Where, yeah, he is very strong. He is very much alpha.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I fell in love with him, because I needed someone who will be strong, because me as a strong woman, I need a strong man, but my mom is very strong, very independent. She raised me, she brought me up, and she paid for all my school. She sent me to school in England, and I admire her. I admire her for running her own business, for being a successful businesswoman. But I picked up the traits from her, which helped me to survive, to be, on my own, to travel all these different, countries, to be in New York. And that's kind of my exterior and my interior too, for that matter. But they're not necessarily helpful for a healthy relationship, where a woman, I think, should possess softer, nurturing, gentler qualities.
Feminine, more of feminine side. And, there's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I feel like I started to practice, maybe about 2 months ago. I started to do Kundalini yoga, and I picked Kundalini when I was in Mexico. And it was by pure chance. I saw this guy, and he was doing some alignment work, adjustment work, like energy work on one of the girls who later I realized had lower back issues. And this is something that I have, unfortunately, for the past 2-3 months. It gotten really, really bad, out of control. And I realized that I have herniated discs, and it gotten much worse, and nothing works. So when I approached him, this guy in Mexico, he told me that he's a Kundalini teacher, and he's a master. In my opinion, he's like a guru. He went through training in India as well. And he explained a lot about Kundalini, about energy, about chakras, about our root chakra, especially how important it is for women, that Kundalini energy, right? And this is something that I didn't give enough attention. I always wanted to, but I never did it in practice. And being in Mexico for like 1 month, I dedicated myself to it completely. Every morning at 6 a.m., rain or shine, would wake up and would do Kundalini for 2 hours. And I found that to be so kind of harmonious and stabilizing, where my energy flow, my connection to my soul, and to my heart, and to my emotions, as opposed to just my mind. Because my mind is so strong. I'm all in my mind. I'm very logical, very rational. And that kind of blocks, I think it blocks it blocks heart chakra, for that matter. And it needs to be opened up, because then the energy doesn't flow. If there's a blockage somewhere,
it can create issues in the body and disease.
Absolutely. And then psychosomatic, right? Of course.
This is the kind of stuff you can talk about on your channel too,
Yes.
Feminine.
Yes.
This is I don't know what it's going to be, but again, the power of having these conversations, Anna, is for me as well to understand what is important to women right now. And one of the topics that has been coming up is feminine and masculine. And I personally, what I'm seeing is that something that I've experienced some time ago as well is, I do have a strong masculine as well. And, I'm straightforward. I'm strong, I'm confident, and I'm a good visionary. I'm a very good with creating structures and schemes, like systems, like system thinking. So, and schemes, yes, systems. So that's system thinking, and being rational, logical is a very masculine quality. The feminine quality, and it's been looked down upon primarily by women lately.
I agree.
Yeah, and looked down upon because women want to be like men. They want to be as successful as men. They want to be, working in the entertainment business. They want to be working in finance. And the way to do it is to be less emotional and more clear and non-feminine. So, and it's a cool quality. I like the masculine quality a lot, but we are neglecting our feminine, and feminine.
Absolutely. And I think women will never be like men. So they should not try. They have certain qualities which men will never have, which they should utilize to
Men
be
must
successful.
utilize.
No, women have qualities which men do not. So they should focus on utilizing these qualities to be successful. Don't become a man, because man will always win. He has it already. It's natural. It's given to him. As a woman, you have certain elements you can use to actually, for lack of the better word, to win in that game, to get that attention, to be heard.
So it's not that the
room.
man, right? Sorry to tell you, it's not like the man will always win. I'm not sure if I like to say the man will, maybe in some areas the man will succeed and proceed and move forward in certain specific manly areas, right? But I don't know, but it's not even about winning. I think we think about winning.
No, it's not winning. Like I said, it's for the lack of the better word.
Right.
I agree with you. Absolutely. It's not the best word, right? But to be heard, to be a lot of women, for example, when they are in a boardroom, right? They are so used to when they start speaking, all of a sudden someone speaks over them, and usually it would be a male, because majority of the corporate world are males,
Then you have to be in your masculine. This is the time to be in your masculine, because that's how men do with each other. They it's about domination, basically, right? Masculine is, it can be very harmful if it's in a very unhealthy form of the masculine, which is becoming a dominant tyrant. There's a really good book I'm reading about the unhealthy form of masculine, which is tyrant, sadistic, dismissive, bulldozing, bullying. This is all really unhealthy qualities of the masculine.
Right. That's why we have MeToo movement as a result of that. Yeah.
As a result of that. But the other thing with MeToo movement, it's a necessary movement. But do you realize how many men don't like it? And there are secret groups on Facebook where men are discussing the fact that it's unhealthy. They don't like it. Women are victimized. There may be some sort of backlash that women would experience with the MeToo movement,
I think
so. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think there will be a backlash. And I agree with you about all those groups being formed on Facebook or wherever, because I feel like that shift of, I don't want to say shift of power, but that shift, it's something that's uncomfortable to a lot of men. And they might be rolling their eyes right now listening to this, but it's true. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all, all that news that we're listening to about another protest, or about diversity and inclusion being one of the major themes right now, and corporate boards where they are looking for women to be, on the board of whatever Fortune 500 companies, etc.
Yeah.
So, and just because it is true, the statistic is that it's predominantly white males that sit on boards, that work in organizations, versus women. So in a way, it sounds like a cliche, but it is in a way some sort of a revolution or revolt, or maybe uprising, where it's not really an uprising or anything violent, but women are finally coming out of their shells and kind
They're
of
speaking up.
unapologetic. Yeah, they are unapologetic about making their voice heard.
And I agree, some women can be angry, and Jordan Peterson calls and says that feminists have secret need to dominate other men. It's possible. Some feminists get into that point and they go into their masculine, where their masculine begins to hate masculine in a man, and wants to dominate them just like they dominated them. But
Yeah, but it's unhealthy.
It's
It's one
unhealthy.
extreme
Yeah.
versus another extreme, right?
Exactly. So we need to look at our feminine and ask, what is the power of the feminine? And you know what's the power of the feminine? That's interesting. I read an interesting on strong women from
Right.
Daily Om. You know Daily Om?
I love Daily Om. I
Love
read it
Daily.
daily.
Yes. And today there was a very short, I like that she writes very short little paragraph.
Yes.
It's not too long. I don't have time for too long, but she showed a really cool email. It's called Strong Woman, what makes a woman confident in her ability
Yes,
to
I
call
read
upon.
it today.
Yeah,
I read it today.
love it.
Beautiful.
Feminine wisdom. And you know what
Yes.
it is? I mean, there one little thing I would argue with, but it is about our power to connect to wisdom. It's not necessarily feminine wisdom. This wisdom is genderless. It's available to men and women. It's the creator. It's the all around. But it's not feminine wisdom. It's our feminine qualities that are allowing the connection to that wisdom. Men are always in the head. You know when you talk about being in the head and being trying to control things, that's the head, that's the mind, that's the masculine. Woman is in the heart. So with our feminine qualities, it's not weak to surrender. It's not weak. Surrender sometimes looked upon as a weak quality, right? Conquer is the strong one, but surrender means letting go, like you did the Kundalini, and connecting to the power around. And if you are dealing with a strong man, a dominating man, or unethical man, right? Instead of trying to dominate him or put him down, which is, a reaction, right?
Right.
It's okay to take a deep breath. It's okay to just connect to the wisdom, and the wisdom will tell you what to do. And the wisdom will connect you to the insight and exact the right words to speak to that man who's dominating or bulldozing you or being, mean to you, for example, or dismissive,
Right.
So instead of fighting him.
You know what I find challenging though is to switch gears between. So when you're at work, right, and you are sending emails and you're drafting whatever that you are drafting, and you need to get a result, you need to get something done, and you are determined and you are a go-getter, right? And then you need to switch gears and you're at home, especially right now when you work from home, where it's all blended, where your home is your office. And I don't think it's actually healthy, honestly speaking, because there should be a barrier, there should be a line, because then you're home, and if you're a wife, if you're a mother, you need to be nurturing, or if you're a caretaker, you need to switch gears to become that person, more of a heart person. Whether at work, you're more of a mind person, you're all in your head. So it's hard to step out of being in your head and being, let's do this, organize this, and then all of a sudden something emotional happens, something emotional happens at home, which needs your emotion, and you can't. You are like, okay, discipline, plan, we're gonna get it this, but you need your emotion.
It's an art.
Love.
It's an art of shifting gears. I remember
And
my
that's
husband used to.
feminine.
It is, exactly. I remember my husband used to tell me when I was, because we always worked kind of from home. We traveled together for a long time before we had kids, a lot more. We traveled a lot more. And I would be working on the phone or on the computer, and I would get in the work mode, and I'd be writing or planning. And he's like, "You're different now. You're working. You're like, you're so disconnected." He would get upset at me because he felt like I was disconnecting from him, or like, I'm not the woman, the feminine. And I'm like, I'm just working, and it could cause some tension. But now he understands. He knows me. Time went by. He really understands. He accepts me, and there's a lot of,
How many years did it take? For months?
It took a few years, and kids helped. Right. Kids helped. I have to say, kids helped. Having kids really helped. Because when you have kids, he can spend time with kids while I'm being in my masculine or like determined, analytical. Then I spend time with kids, and then when kids are doing something, we're together. So it's like you're not on top of it, you're not like constantly with each other. You actually have different roles that you're playing, you know, and when you play those roles, he's playing his role, he's sitting in an office, I'm doing something else, you know, and we kind of manage things in the way that it's like different chunks, you know, he has his chunk, I have my chunk. So I'm going to come back now for 15 minutes. I'm going to say hello to everybody and hug everybody, be myself. And it's also, you know, it's also, I think it takes time to be able to sort of migrate from one state to another state, one state to another state.
Right.
I really enjoyed our conversation today. I want to thank you for your
Yes.
time,
Me
for
too.
coming
Thank
here.
you.
And I wish,
Absolutely.
of course, and let's continue to stay in touch together. And I would love to see you in some time, probably not this year, but hopefully next year. I want to come to New York. I really miss New York. I have dreams about New York every week.
Oh, look at you. Wow, you better come here then.
I sure will.
I
I
hope
sure
I'll
will.
see you. I hope I'll see you when you come here.
We sure will see each other for sure.
All right.
All right, darling.
Okay.
I'm going to say
Thank
goodbye.
you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll stop here and then I'll say goodbye to you one more time. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you soon. And thanks for
Thank you.
listening.